Greetings, Namaste, Rahubat, Hotep, peace to all the family. On this particular episode, I want to, I guess you can say, simplify, not just really simplify, but I want to kind of like break down a lot of what I teach on this particular channel. You can look at this like a reintroduction into what I teach. It's a really good time to do this because we're in Mercury retrograde. I've been getting a lot of emails from a lot of different followers and fans, whatever you want to call yourself, just people that are watchers, people that just like to watch the videos. And a lot of people, they get into this spiritual thing, man, and it's so much information out there. And even on my channel, it's so much information. You got to sit down and like watch all of these different videos, and you got to figure out the parts that you agree with, what you disagree with. A lot of times you can't even figure out what you agree with or disagree with because of the fact that you don't even know or have really a source or a base of knowledge to even be able to agree or disagree, because we've been tricked, as my man Malcolm X would say, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and lied to through the public food system for so long that we don't know which way is up. We don't know which way is down. Which way is the north? Which way is the south? There's so much that we don't know. And we think we know so much. We got people out here that got these letters behind their name. They're doctors and lawyers. And, you got your bachelor's degree. And at the end of the day, you really don't know shit. Went and spent 20, 100, $200,000 at a university. And you came out really absolutely knowing nothing about how the way the world works. And not even that, but about yourself. Because in the ancient Egyptian mystery system, when you first got initiated into it, the first thing they would teach you is, man, woman, know thyself. And when you get into astrology, this is why I chose astrology as the modality to teach, because no matter what school you come from, no matter what culture you come from, cosmology, aka astrology, is the basis of all knowledge. The natal chart and the way it's set up is the basis of all human life. This is called the circle of life. The first house deals with yourself, your self-knowledge, knowing who you are. You cannot even go into anything else in your natal chart until you first understand your first house. Now, you may be looking at your natal chart. You may not see any planets in your first house. That does not mean there is no knowledge about yourself. Because just because you don't see planets located in a house does not mean that there's not information pertaining to that house. It just means you may need an astrologer, or you may need to dig deeper to figure out how to decode that house. So I'm not going into that right now, but it's the basis of any knowledge is knowing yourself. So you may see me on a lot of videos talking a lot about other topics and things of that nature. You may think, well, this is off the course of astrology, but it's not, because it all goes back to you. So you have to know who you are. Now, many people are a part of different orders, different, especially here in the West. A lot of people are a part of not really mystery schools, but they're a part of Masonic orders. So I want to talk a little bit about Masonry as I build up into what I really want to talk about, which is really Merkaba mysticism, which to me is the highest form of living. Merkaba mysticism is the highest form of reality, of understanding reality. See, the life that you live here on this planet is based on your understanding of reality. And there's different forms of reality. There's different states of reality. So this is why in Masonry, they teach the first degree. There's really only 3 degrees, even though there's degrees in between those degrees when you get into the different orders. Some have 33-degree Masons. There's 72-degree Masons. There's 360-degree Masons. There's 720-degree Masons. I understand that. I have videos talking about that. But the basic 3 degrees of Masonry are: first, you're an entered apprentice. You're initiated. And if you understand Masonry, one of the first things you'll realize is that it's based on work. We call it the great work. And when I say we, I'm not speaking from a context of me being in any Masonic order or anything like that. I'm not This is not me saying that or admitting to that or anything of that nature. I'm not on that right now. I'm speaking of the esoteric aspects of masonry, because there are many masons that don't get taught the esoteric aspects of masonry. See, I studied masonry through Egyptology. So this is why I know a little bit about it, because I studied Egyptology, and masonry came out of Egyptology. So you would first, you enter into the pyramid, and there's a code. Some people, when you enter into the Masonic Lodge, there's a certain knock, a signal that you give. And what that's teaching you is right offhand, Masonry teaches you how to communicate and how to speak a secret language. And this is the beginning of your life purpose. A lot of people ask me, well, what's the beginning? What is this life all about? This life is all about knowing your purpose. And I'll try to tell people that your purpose is always changing. As man and woman unfolds, your God will unfold. Your God is your highest ideal, no matter how you look at it. You say, well, Jesus is my God. Well, that's fine. That's your highest ideal. Some people say the sun is my God. That's fine too. That's your highest ideal. Some people will say, no, the Ethereans on planet Risk is my God. That's fine. That's your highest ideal. Some people say, no, my higher self is my God. And that's fine if you understand your higher self and that's your highest ideal. So as man unfolds and woman unfolds, your God unfolds. And what that means is that your purpose will always be changing as you unfold. And you unfold through these 3 degrees. So you're the entered apprentice. This is when you're in a world of looking and you woke up. The entered apprentice is like when you first wake up out of bed and you're like, oh, you got to come back to reality. You have to process reality again. You look up, you see that you have to remember that if you have a television in front of you, like, oh, that's the television. And then you look to your right, you may see some trees outside of your window. You're like, okay, those are trees. You're identifying things. And this really is a secret language, because at the end of the day, there's many cultures that may consider the trees. They may look at the trees one way, and then another culture may look at the trees another way. Like, I'm a Native American, so we believe that the trees are alive and they're entities. And there's some cultures that just, or just some people in general, that just look at the trees as just something. They don't even know why a tree even exists. Like, what's the difference between a terrain that has trees and a terrain that has very little trees? You're in a different realm when you deal in that type of system. Like, if you understand, like if you're in a desert, that's one realm. If you're in a tropical area where there's beaches and palm trees, that's another realm. But then when you're in a forest type of area, that's another realm. So there's different realms. So when you first go through your first degree, it's like you woke up. So your purpose is identifying everything to yourself and asking a lot of questions. You have to question everything. Never be afraid to ask questions. This is why I do my consultations on a question and answer format. Because when a man or woman asks a question, as the master teacher always taught us, that means that this man or woman is on a quest or on a journey. And when you get into this knowledge, you have to look at it like this is a journey. This is nothing to play with. Don't study these things unless you are willing to walk down a path and walk down a road. So that's the first thing you got to understand. You're entered apprentice. That's your higher purpose. Yeah, you may still have to go work a job or whatever, but at the end of the day, as soon as you get off from that job, you finish and getting initiated into the world of symbols, understanding what that symbol means and what that symbol means. And there's so many different symbols out here. I mean, I'm not going to go into them. Because this can get deep, because that's really sacred geometry. I mean, you can look at the television and press mute and just watch the television and be watching television and learning information without even hearing what they're saying. Because on television, they deal all in the world of symbolism. They're artists, these people in media and these people in the electronic media field. They're artists. And they know how to communicate without speaking and saying it. And even when they speak and say it, that's another level to symbolism. There's a way to speak in code and to say things in code. And that's when you're entered apprentice. These are the things that you learn as an entered apprentice in life, though. Not just in masonry, this is in life. See, that's why masonry works. It makes good people better, because they're teaching you principles. If you understand the principles and don't get caught up on the actual order, or I'm a part of this lodge, the Amos Lodge, or I'm a part of that lodge, I'm a part of the Albert Pike Lodge, or these different lodges out here. You're caught up on the name of that particular lodge, which is cool, but that's the mundane part, the brotherhood. And you know, my worshipful master is so and so, master so and so. That's my master, you know, or my master is so and so. You know, you're caught up on personalities. You're missing the point. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you, you are supposed to become the master as we go deeper into this. So you got your entered apprentice degree of life, though. And these are the things you must understand. So then you have fellow craft. And when you get into the fellow craft aspect, this is going into, okay, now you find your work. What is your work? That you understand the world of symbols. You understand kind of what's going on around you for the most part. You've been studying this thing for a while. You understand secrecy to a certain degree. You understand things being sacred and how to preserve things to a certain degree. So now you must understand, what is your work? What were you put here to do within this structure and construct of what we're speaking on right now? So your work may be, you may say, well, I want to work with children. I want to help children that don't have parents. Based on what you've studied or all this information that you've processed, you're going to come up with the way you want to apply this information. Because you can apply this information in many ways. You may just want to start a study group for children and help children that don't have parents. You may want to adopt children and get you a house and take children that really would have never had an opportunity or a way and give them a better way. So that's going into the fellow craft aspect. So it's about the fellow craft aspect. What it teaches you is that your life purpose is something that is supposed to be higher than you. You're doing something bigger than you. It's not just about survival and saying, well, I'm just going to give me a job and work hard and take care of my family and, you know, and that whole thing. Fellow craft teaches you, okay, I need to do something for the world. Something that's going to benefit this world. Something that's bigger than me. Something that I'm going to leave a legacy. Something that's going to outlive me, and when I transform and leave this plane, people can still look at this legacy. So that's the fellow craft, and then you become master mason, or master in general. And this is when, you know, you've already figured out your life purpose. You've already understand the world of symbols, and now you're a master. And what a master does is, this is when it gets interesting, is they meet people on the path that they're on and help them to walk that path better with more knowledge, more information. So a master has various different life purposes. A master wears many hats. You see, it's just like me on this channel. I do videos, I answer emails, I work with people personally. So I consider myself a master. You can go higher than that. Then there's the doctor, which is the wise teacher, which I'm learning to become a better doctor. But a master meets people and takes their hand. Like Jesus, he was Rabboni, he was a rabbi. A rabbi is a master. And he took the student's hand and helped them to walk down the path and made things easier for them. But then a master always, he never attaches, or she never attaches him or herself to the student. The master always teaches just enough. And then when the student is ready or teaches them enough, it equips them like a good father. You equip your child with the information that they need, and then you let them go. A lot of times you let them go without even knowing that you're going to let them go. So like when your father taught you how to ride a bike, for instance, and your father may have held you on the back, held the seat, you was riding a bike, and the father was holding on to the back of the seat, and you was like, don't let me go, daddy, don't let me go. And you know your daddy didn't let you go, and then one day, the father let you go. And you riding the bike on your own. You don't even know. And you look back and see your father let you go. Like, what the fuck? And then you might fall off. Because fear sets in. But that's okay, because your accidents serve as teachers as well. These are your greatest teachers, your challenges. Because once you learn all this information, you're going to be challenged. That's the whole point. And a master looks to challenge him. A master is always looking for a challenge. As a master, because a master feels like they have to challenge themselves and challenge other people, because it's nothing that they shouldn't know about, or it's no situation that they shouldn't be able to figure out how to get themselves or herself out of. So that's being a master. So life, essentially, when you understand this channel and everything about astrology and all of that, life, this is how life works. Like when you entered school in kindergarten, they taught you the basics of shapes, all of that. You were the entered apprentice. So you were in elementary school. Then you go to middle school. This is when you go into the fellow craft. And in middle school, you may have a workshop class. They may teach you a little bit of architecture. They may teach you a little bit of personal accounting. This is what they taught us. I went to a pretty decent school. I wasn't always in the public school system. Luckily, I went to somewhat of a, not a private school, but let's just say the school that I went to was kind of like a charter school. So they taught us a little bit more on a lot of levels. And you become, they have student council presidents and all that type of stuff in middle school. Then in high school, this is like the third master. This is the master mason degree. So you got elementary, middle school, and high school. Notice everything is in threes, even in the school system. So this is when you become a master in high school. You got a little bit more free time. You got spaces in between classes. So you're a master now. So they want to see if you're able to exist on your own in society. Can you deal with responsibility? Can you tell yourself what to do without having a teacher always over you? Like, do this now. Okay, class, let's do that. Master in high school, you have a little bit more freedom and flexibility, even though it's still structure. So this is how society works. So now let's go into you. Let's go back to the great maxim. Man, woman, know thyself. Now, essentially, your body is the lodge. Your body is the temple. Your body is the church, which means the circle. So this is all talking about you. And this is the esoteric aspect of religion. See, it's not about a place that you go and you go and give your devotion and your service. It's deeper than that when you get into the esoteric aspect of these words and these places. So the lodge, which is a living place, is your body. But what you learn is, first in the beginning phases, you're going to learn all the external components of your body. You're going to learn about your hands and your feet and all of that. But then there's a spiritual aspect of your body. So now let's go into the stars. Let's talk about the stars for real quick as we talk about yourself. Now, you have what's called the hexagram or the Star of David, or which is actually the compass and the square. Because we look at the compass and the square, it's a star in David. That's all it is. When you connect the compass and the square, that's the symbol of masonry. It's the compass and the square with the G, which is supposed to stand for geometry. Correct? When you connect that, it's a Star of David. I'll draw it for you. You have your compass and square. I just want people to see this. I can't draw, so don't laugh at me. Now this is your compass and square, beloved. I can't draw at all. And if I connect this turns into Star of David. If I connect the dots, it has 6 points. Star of David. Then you have what's called the pentagram. And again, forgive me because I am horrible. I mean, when I say horrible, I cannot draw it off. Like at all. That's a sloppy bootleg version of a pentagram. And these are important. These stars are important because what you have to understand, the universe, one of my teachers taught me, shout out to Brother Sabek from Cincinnati, Ohio. He taught me that there is no such thing as a 5-pointed star. And I was like blown away because every time you think about a star, like the Order of the Eastern Star, you're thinking that this represents some star out in the sky. That's the first thing you think as twinkle, twinkle, little star. As a little child, we always thought stars were fire. We never drew a star with a 6-pointed star. We never a hexagram, even though there's actually 6-point stars or 7-point stars even. There's no such thing as a 5-pointed star out in the universe. And that's interesting. So what does the 5-pointed star mean? What is the Order of the Eastern Star really all about? We told you what the lodge was about. Now the Order of the Eastern Star and the 5-pointed star, you notice they use this where? On flags in government. So the 5-pointed star deals with the 5 highest principles known to man. Then you can also turn the 5-pointed star upside down and it becomes the Baphomet. And the Baphomet goes into the darker aspects of man's reality. So the 5 higher principles known to man is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which is what was taught to us in the Adept chamber of the ancient Egyptian mystery school. This is what I learned from the Adept chamber. Then you have, and this is all still going into Merkaba mysticism. So I'm going to get into what's Merkaba mysticism. That's what it's actually pronounced, Merkaba mysticism. So then you have the lower aspects of human nature, which is hatred, lewdness, murder, theft, and harm, to harm a person in general. These are the 5 lower principles of reality and man's reality. And all of these are very real because these are different energies. So the 5-pointed star represents the human body. As the 5%ers would say, arm, leg, arm, head, God. The 5-pointed star goes into your head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. 5-pointed star. And when it's turned upside down, you notice it looks like a woman holding her legs spread open, about to get fucked. I mean, I gotta be real here, you know, gotta use these words or whatever. And that's because that's going into the darker aspects of energy, which is sex is the darker aspect of energy, which can be used for the higher good. If you really understand, you can use sex for higher manifestations, even though it comes from a dark place, which means a secret place. But it could go in, it could lower your vibration, it could lower your energy. But I'm not going into that now. So you got the 5-pointed star. That's representing your nature as a human. In government, it represents the justice system, the penal system, the pentagram. All these different things go into the penis. Because you notice there's no penis there. The 5-pointed star doesn't depict the penis, and a man would have another point, which will really, that's when you go into the 6-pointed star. Because if you look to calculate the phallus, that would be a 6 point. So that's when you got the 6-pointed star. That goes into the phallus, or the penis, which goes into the 6-pointed star. And this is when you get into higher energy. So this is why it takes a vagina and a penis to create higher spiritual energy. Sex is very spiritual. And the 6-pointed star goes into understanding the Merkaba. So you have a field, a living field around you. And it's called the Merkaba. You have essentially 8 chakras. You have more than that. But talking about for the sake of this video, I know I was going to say I'm going to do videos on the 13 chakras and help you to understand that. But that's really just going into music. If you want to understand the 13 chakras, you got to understand music and the musical scale. But essentially, let's talk about the 8. Because the 8 is very important. In the ancient Egyptian mystery school, they had what's called the Ogdo system. And a lot of people, they look at the Ogdo system and they think about these deities on the outside of your body. The Ogdo system is really telling you about the 8 chakras. And it's 2 systems. You have the Ogdo system, which deals with 8 deities, primarily dealing with Noon and Nunet. And there's other deities that I won't name here. But then you have the Enianat system, which deals with 9 entities, which goes into celestial. This is like your environment, like the stars and the things that's going on around you. Like there's 9 planets and all that type of stuff. So you have the 8 and then the 9. Different numbers for different systems. Each number represents a different system. Right now we're talking about the 8. So you have 8 chakras. And these 8 chakras have counterparts going on around your body. And if you look at this here, I'll show you. This is Leonardo's 8 spheres. This is Leonardo's 8 spheres. And this, you notice that man is standing within a 6-pointed star, what I've just drawn. And you notice there's different orbs around him. There's 6 different orbs around him. And then there's 2 connected to his body. So you have 8 chakras going up, and then you have orbs around you. That's what this is depicting. So you have to understand that this is your spiritual aspect of your body. This is going into the etheric aspect of your body. This is energy or chi. When you hear me talk about chi, this is what it is. Chi is around your body. So now let me help you to understand how to connect these things, because you're the 5-pointed star existing within the 6-pointed star. So if you don't understand what your hands are on a spiritual level, you can't really use your chi. This is why in Christian church, the pastor says he's going to put hands on you. He's giving you some form of energy. You need to be careful. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you say, well, this is my pastor. You need to be careful because energy can be passed on through the hands. We understand this in Reiki. The hands are the most powerful. This is a Reiki therapist, and one who masters Reiki masters passing energy, healing energy through the hands. So you need to understand what your hands is. What is your head? This is your dome. When they talk about the dome of the rock over there in Jerusalem, or Heru Salem is what it's really actually called. Heru Salem. The J is very new. It's called Jerusalem, like Heru Salem, which means peace. This is the peaceful abode of Heru, or Horus. Very important place. That's why they say they're going to fight a World War III, and they're fighting over Jerusalem. It's a whole nother story that I won't go into, but so this is very important. Your head is a dome. Then you have your legs. Your feet is the foundation, where that connects you to the inner world. This is why a lot of great masters and teachers teach that you should go outside with your shoes off and walk around barefooted, so you can connect with the terrestrial plane of existence. So you have to understand all this stuff about your body. As you can see, people don't even know what your body, you don't even know what your body is. Your dome connects you to the celestial sphere. Your hair acts as antennas. I'm going to do a video on hair, so I won't say too much here. To transmit energy. This is why you should always leave a little bit of hair on your head. People think, why you walk around like that? Why don't you get a fade, bruh? You need to get a haircut. No, because I'm doing an experiment. Because I understand when I keep hair on my head, I channel information better than when I shave my head. Now, don't get me wrong. You shave your head to get into into a lot of the priesthood in ancient Egypt. You would have to shave your head, but eventually you would grow it back. Most of the deities are depicted with hair. Horus, as a baby, is bald-headed, but as he grows, he has hair. Or he has the little lock or whatever, one little lock going down, but the hair represents the antenna. So when you shave your hair, this represents cleansing and detoxing, because you should always cleanse your body and detox your body. Remember, your body's a lodge. Just like you would clean the lodge, you would clean the church, and nobody wants to have service in a dirty church. This is God's temple. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to your body. You should clean your body and purify it with water. And you should go on fasts, but you should do them properly. If you're going to go on a fast or abstain from something, you juice with it. You do it a certain way, or you go on a raw food fast where you cut out all cooked food. You don't always have to. Abstaining from food does not necessarily clean you out. Not necessarily. Just because you say, well, I didn't eat. It can, but it doesn't necessarily. You have to do it properly. If you're not taking in the proper liquids, it's not going to clean you out. If you're going to abstain without food, you need to drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. Now, I understand people go on food fast to build discipline and water fast, and they don't consume anything. I understand that. Breatharianism and taking in the air, and the air is actually water because we're up underwater. I understand all of that. But I'm saying this is the basics of even getting to that point. A lot of people are still eating meats. So how can you talk about breatharianism when you're still stuck on meat? Not to say that you see even something wrong with that, because when you understand being a master can go back to eating meat because a master understands shape-shifting. So a master can eat meat, because I've been seeing a lot of comments where people say, well, I eat meat and I could do this, that, and that. You're probably a master. A master can eat meat and still influence the weather, because a master understands alchemy. A master can consume drugs and still be able to do a lot of different things, because a master understands alchemy, but a master isn't stuck on meat. A master can stop eating meat at will, just like a master can cross the borderland, which is the veil separating us from this world and that world, at will. So these are things. This is when you go into Merkaba mysticism. That's what it is understanding that we're in the realm of illusion, of which I'll get into in a second. So you have to understand that your body, the temple, the different stars, the law. This is why they have 5-pointed stars on flags, because this goes into the law. So you have to learn the law, because all laws are made to be broken, but you have to know the law first before you can break it. Very important. So you got all this information now. You know what your body is. You know you have this living field around you, and you live within the 6-pointed star, but you still don't really understand what Rob Hotep talks about. You got to activate your Merkaba. You got to raise your Kundalini. And you got to open your third eye. What is all of this? So now let's talk about the Kundalini. Kundalini is a serpent energy. a spiritual inner chi that exists within the root chakra and actually within the feet. It starts within the feet and it comes up from the feet and it goes into the root chakra and it goes, and a lot of times it stays there. Most people's kundalinis never go past the root chakra. Maybe maybe the sacral chakra, maybe, which is the chakra right below your navel. When you, a lot of people when they get sexual, their kundalini energy will get up to the sacral chakra, but it never rises to the spleen, or never makes it to the heart, and it never makes it to the throat. And this is why you never have experienced love, a lot of people, because you've only experienced lust, because when you have sex, you're not doing it long enough, or if you are, you're not taking the energy all the way up, because you're stuck on the lower planes of existence of the feeling that you're getting from the sexual energy, instead of focusing on taking the energy up. And you could do this with the person that's not conscious, but it's better if both of you are conscious. But you can experience rising this energy up with a person that's not conscious, but it's much better if both of you guys are conscious. So the Kundalini is basically, that's why it's called a serpent force. Remember, the serpent came to Adam and Eve, and I always talk about this in my videos. And most people know they started having sex. After the serpent gave them all this knowledge, they was like, let's have sex. Damn, we can have sex freely. It's the first thing they learned. So that's why sex is very much tied into understanding the Kundalini, but it's deeper than sex. The Kundalini rising is that feeling that you get, because you can activate it outside of just sex and help it to rise outside of just sex. It's a good orgasmic feeling, especially when it rises up to your heart. It becomes non-sexual at that point. And it's like when you read this book, and the feeling that you get when it's like, this knowledge is good as hell. Like you just sit up here reading this book, right? And they build in the book. I mean, they telling you, they breaking down some stuff in the book, and you like, damn, it's better than dope. It's better than some good cooked food. It's better than a joint of marijuana. It's just good knowledge. That's how you understand the Kundalini rises through love. And loving what you do. The feeling that you get when you're at work, you like, I love my job. I love what I do. That your Kundalini can rise through that. So understanding the Kundalini is understanding love. It's the energetic component of love, especially as it starts to rise up. And then once you finally channel it up, you can do this through meditation. You don't necessarily have to do it through sex or whatever, or through reading a good book. But these are all good components. But the goal is to get it to rise up. And this takes time. This may take years even for you to actually experience it, getting up to here now, to the sacral chakra, and then eventually out the crown. So the goal is to get it up to the sacral chakra to get your third eye activated. Your Kundalini is what activates your third eye. Remember, it started way down here at the base of the spine, but you got to get it to rise up. And you can take days, months, or even years to do this. It's not something you just lay back and say, all right, I'm about to get my Kundalini to rise. You start breathing. It's deeper than that. So you got to get it to rise up. And then once you get it to rise up, which, like I said, is eating healthy, understanding your human body, understanding who you are, getting good massages because your Kundalini may get blocked, understanding the lesson that each chakra has. You know that you can't get it to rise to the sixth chakra if you haven't mastered the lessons of the fifth chakra. You scared to speak the truth. You the only one to know the truth in this room, and you scared to say something. You Kundalini ain't gonna rise because you scared to speak the truth. You don't have no feelings and emotions for nobody. Your heart chakra's not open. You don't feel shit for anybody. You don't care about anybody. How you expect your Kundalini to rise? So you gotta master that before you can even get to the sixth chakra. This is when you get all this understanding. So now the Kundalini is open and activated the third eye. And this can go both ways. I have a video called So You Want to Open Your Third Eye. I suggest you watch that. But this can go both ways. But the goal is to get it to come out the crown. I'm not going to really talk too much about what it does when it activates the third eye because I have videos on that. So when it comes out the crown, this is when it starts to build a relationship, because it shoots out of your crown chakra. There's a chakra right over your head, which is the eighth chakra. Because really your crown chakra is kind of like right here. But then there's a chakra even over that, which is kind of like why the Egyptians always wore these big tall head dresses, and why the Moors would wear their fez, because they were protecting it so high up. It's called a tarbouche, actually. And it will protect the eighth chakra. And when you get it to activate, now all of these chakras are spinning. And this is when your Merkaba field begins to get activated. And it may take you years to get to this point. This is the beginning phases of being able to astral travel, or being able to experience getting into a spacecraft and going anywhere you want to go, or being able to go on a journey to all these different planets like Saturn and Mars, or being able to remote view in a secret council meeting and you sitting there watching the whole thing play out. This is the beginning of all of that. This is the beginning of being able to go wherever you want to go at will with the by just a thought, and then boom, you're there. If you want to understand all of that, and you want to see aliens, you want to commune with them, and or when I talk about aliens, I mean basically extraterrestrials, which are lights that are not indigenous to this particular realm, or frequencies and tones that are not indigenous to this realm. If you want to begin to deal with all these things, you have to have your living field activated. You have to have your Merkaba activated. Now, the dark aspect to that is that you can invite in demons and demonic entities, especially if you are not purified totally. The more purified you are in this process, the more higher vibrational experiences you will attract to your circumference. But the more diluted you are, the food, you eating pig and you eating oil, beef and all this shit, you're cooking your meats and all kind of oils and lard and fat, and then you want to go drink some ayahuasca now, or you want to go do this or do that. So you want to go take DMT so you can activate all these higher chakras and activate your Merkaba so you can fly out of here. But then you may do it, but then you may, you have to go through this dark realm first before you can go to the higher light. So you may have to see the darker aspect of yourself. So this is why people do certain psychedelics and they get paranoid, because they have more of a darker nature associated with their self. This is why people have dreams and they see demons doing this and doing that. There's something in your food or something that you're doing in your lifestyle that made you see that in that realm, in that world. So now we can finally talk about Merkaba mysticism and what it actually is. And then I'll shut the video down because there's not much to it. Once you understand all of that, you overstand and understand all of that, now you are invited into the realm of Merkaba mysticism. And this is when you understand that everything that you see in 3D is a wool. And you become a sawoof. Shout out to my Sufis out there. Shout out to Brother Jamil, who actually taught me a lot of this information as well. The sawoof. He's a Melchizedek, one of the Melchizedeks. So you become a sawoof and the veil is lifted. And when you become a sawoof, you learn how to go up under the veil, or it's called to go up under the wool. Sufi means the wool or the veil. So a Sufi, or one who's initiated to Merkaba mysticism, learns how to go up under the wool or to go up under the veil. And they know how to cloak themselves. And there's different levels to cloaking yourself, depending on how lucid you are in this reality, depending on how high you're vibrating, depending on the relationship that you have with different plants and things of that nature, will help you to understand how to even dematerialize. Because there's some Sufis that can take their atoms and separate them and dematerialize and go into another realm and disappear. This can happen. And if you on any type of psychedelics and done any drug, this is the only way that you'll even begin to understand this type of information. Most people. You could do this without the psychedelics and stuff like that, but I'm saying most people that have done this, they will follow this video. The people that have done psychedelics, because they understand, remember we're going back to the body now, they understand the 6-pointed aspect of the body and the 5-pointed aspect of the body. And when you do psychedelics, you understand that you're nothing. Like these hands and all of this and all the stuff that we caught up on the physical, how beautiful somebody is, this ain't shit. That's the first thing that you learn in Sufism. You're nothing, no thing. That's what you are. You're not a thing, which means you're not matter. You are, because matter is not really real. But once you learn alchemy, spiritual alchemy, you learn how to dematerialize. Yeah, you may be a genetically modified organism on one level, but once you learn how to speed up your vibration and you tap into your soul body or your astral body or even your shadow self, you'll learn that you're not shit. You're energy. Pure energy. You can make tornadoes. You can make it rain. So this is what understanding Merkaba mysticism is all about. You have to understand rays, the rays of light, and be able to communicate with them. You have to understand tonation and music and being able to chant. And once you do all of that, then one day you could do like me and my brothers used to do. You could form a Dakor circle. This is what one of the highest forms of Sufism is, when you form a Dakor circle and you guys begin to chant and chant and chant, and then next thing you know, you guys' energy raises up to a certain level, and you'll see that there's always UFOs out there, even in the middle of the daytime, keeping everything balanced on this particular planet. There are UFOs out there making and creating the weather, and most of these UFOs are coming from the center of the earth. Remember, I talked this videos back, not from out there. The UFOs, they're UFOs that literally need to fly at all times within this space called the Earth to keep the Merkaba of the Earth balanced, because the Earth has a Merkaba. So when you begin to learn how to communicate and activate your Merkaba, you tap into the Merkaba of the Earth, of the planet, because the planet exists within the same structure. The planet exists within the same structure. And they don't tell you that the planet has a crown over it. They know about it. NASA knows all about it. There's two NASAs, the secret NASA, and then there's the dark NASA, and then there's the NASA that you know about. And they say they only send out shit. They only send people to the Earth, out to the outer space every 6 years or 15 years. They're lying to you. They're not telling the truth. Put it that way. They don't want you to know. This is a black ops version of NASA. But at the end of the day, they know that it's a city that exists over Earth that beings live in. And this is the crown of the earth. Some people call it the crystal city, or the new Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem that will come to the earth. So in Merkaba mysticism, when you begin to chant and you begin to build a connection with these crafts, and even certain crafts may start to even follow you at all times, and then you may see a helicopter following you at all times. That's the government watching that craft that's following you, because they know that you're connected to something. So now they got to watch you 24/7. So when you get into this, understand that you're going to have intelligence agencies watching you, because they know that this stuff is real, and they know that you have a connection with it. So this is when you really know yourself. This is when you really have mastered who you are. This is when you really have gotten to your sacred space, is what I like to call it, that safe place. And now you're able to see reality for what it truly is on a higher level and on a deeper level. So I hope that helped you guys to really understand like what I teach and why I teach it, and why I do what I do. There's a lot more information that could be said of this, but this is the basics of it. Master these things. I mentioned a lot of things that you should look up. Chakras, the Merkaba, the third eye, or the pineal gland. Very important. Remember, we talked about the pentagram and the P. That's the point. That's the pineal gland is the top point, or the highest pillar of your existence. You have to activate that before you can go into that higher world. So once you master all this, then you learn how to use these energies to control your reality. That's why the Native Americans could dance, and they could rain dance, and they could do certain chants. The next thing you know, it will start raining. They could change an environment at will. There's beings behind the drought in California. There's beings behind all the snow that we was getting a couple weeks back. People say, no, it's just the government. No, it's deeper than that. And some people say, why do you say it's aliens? How do you know it's just not a higher race of humans? Maybe it is a higher race of humans, but they're still aliens, because an alien is someone that's foreign, a foreigner, that people don't understand. This is what an alien is. An alien is just somebody, like, you say you're a legal immigrant or a legal alien. You could be an alien and be walking amongst people that look just like you, and you're an alien. There's aliens over here right now in the United Snakes, or corporate US. Right now. Because an alien is just somebody that doesn't do things the way within the culture that that person is in. So everybody thinks they're weird. Watch the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. Watch the movie The Knowing. When the aliens come back, everybody's looking at them like, oh my God, he's an alien. Like, yeah, I mean, alien, that's all it is, or whatever. So many levels to even that. I mean, there are aliens that look very grotesque and very ugly, if you will. I mean, yeah, there are aliens on that level too. So you hear about me talking about the alien. All this is relevant to this video because I'm trying to help you to understand it all. You never have seen a lot of these things because you're not initiated in Merkaba mysticism. The reptilians are always around you, especially in wooded areas. But if you're not able to see into that state, you're not able to chant and raise your vibration, you've never raised your vibration that high, you don't know what I'm talking about. People that have done psychedelics like ayahuasca and DMT and even marijuana even know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people don't. So that's all it is, guys. It's just knowing that we're in an illusion and we're in a place that is always changing, and your reality is not fixed at all. Nothing you see is fixed. Everything is mutable. Even your body, even you. Either energy is neither created or destroyed. It simply just changes form. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. Until we leave again, until we meet again, I'll leave you in Hotep. Peace. Adu.